Season 2 continues at the Night Racing League with race number 11 of the GTE Championship. From the deserts of Dubai, we travel to Zhuhai, China. It's race 10 for both Bozak and Night Racing, separated by 26 points. Nodovan and Stillen 421 are third and fourth. Jagbase and T-Man 1975 are here as well. Logan Sean 17 could not make the trip to China. After today's race, Bozak and Night Racing will both have to start dropping races as only the top 10 count in the championship. Now let's check out the starting grid for race number 11. On pole, it's Nodovan with a 130.668, just barely sneaking in ahead of our championship leader, Bozak, with a 130.680. Row number 2, and back in his familiar Corvette is Night Racing 727 with a 130.999. Beside him, Jagbase 44 with a 133.978. Stillen 421 did have the fourth best time, but with a grid penalty late in qualifying, he'll start inside row number 3 beside Englishman T-Man 1975, who put in a 134.340. 45 minutes on the Grand Prix circuit in Zhuhai, China. It's race number 11 of the GTE Championship, and it starts now. And again, a great start by Stillen 421 from the third row, and he's going to put it 3 wide into turn number 1. Bozak takes the lead. As a little bit of banging going on, Nodovan's going to drop all the way down to the back of the field. And T-Man 1975, another great start for him in the Ferrari number 71. He's put it up into third place. Night Racing in the Corvette trying to stay tight with this front group, is going to dive deep, and he will take third back. Nodovan up to fourth now as Jagbase has dropped to sixth. Up front, it's a pair of Fords. The championship leader is on point. And the number 66 behind him, the 33 of Stillen 421. And you can see now Nodovan all over the back of T-Man 1975 as Knight is into third. It's starting to get dark outside, and Knight needs to keep tabs with these leaders. And the worst thing would be if Bozak can rack up another race win here today. He's got to keep that car up front. As we come around to complete lap number 1, very tight between the top 5. Oh, and we're off. A little nudge by Nodovan into turn 1 there on T-Man. He's going to get fourth place. And we're going to look at it now from on board of Nodovan as we head down to turn number 1. Well, he was never going to make that corner, was he? And that's going to put a gap of 4 seconds between the top 3 and the second Corvette of Nodovan in fourth. Jagbase now right behind T-Man 1975. So 2 groups of 3 here on lap number 2. And we'll get another look at the start now as you see that great jump again by Stillen, 421 from the third row, gets himself fighting for the lead by the time they get to turn 1. A little bump there against Bozak, and that pushes him out wide, which takes Nodovan. We'll get a look from on board here. Yeah, you can see he was in a little deeper than Bozak was, who was on the inside line. Night Racing had a great view of it all. And that just nudged his car left. Boy, it almost looked like a little netcode, didn't it, there from that angle? And there's T-Man sneaking past Knight. 2 races in the Ferrari didn't pay very many dividends, and he is back to Old Faithful, a car they've got lots of setups for. As a great run through the kink there has put Stillen right back on the tail of Bozak. A really good run up here by the top 3. Nodovan has pulled away a little from T-Man, who has pulled away a little from Jag Base. The race is up front where we like it. The top 3 separated by 1.5 seconds. On board with Knight as the lap times will probably stabilize there. 72, 32.7, 5, and a 4. Night Racing still quickest here in this Corvette. The top 3 continue to get closer and closer. And a little slide there by the Corvette. Everybody pushing hard here. "26 points, the lead by Bozak over Night Racing. As we run race 11 here, 3 to go. And this is the 10th race, as we mentioned, for both Bozak and Night Racing. They will have to start dropping their worst finishes. Only the top 10 finishes of the season count. Bozak, if he can stay where he is, this will be his 5th win of the season. So he'll be locking in half of his races as race wins, as Knight is around on the last corner. Nodovan into 3rd. Oh, and it spins around in the grass. There goes T-Man. The Canadian will drop all the way to 5th place at the tail end of lap 4. And the championship just got very complicated as Nodovan is now in front of him by 2 positions, only 21 points behind. And that leaves the Fords on their own up front, Bozak and Stillen. It's a 7-second gap to Nodovan now, who has clear track to try and regain the ground he's lost to these leaders. He was on pole, remember. Pushed wide in turn number 1. That couldn't have worked out any better for Bozak for the championship there. Night Racing, only 2 wins, so this really solidifies that lead for him as we look forward. Stillen now only has a 1-position lead in the race over Nodovan, who he is chasing. That's a 25-point gap between those two coming into this race. But other than Bozak, the order is flipped, so things are tightening up second through fourth. We look back now at T-Man, who a little wide out of the kink, but he's got that Corvette now coming behind him again. It was this corner where Knight shoved them both wide. There was no contact. It was a very late move. Not even up in the distance. We'll watch that gap now, but it is still 1.3 seconds. As Stillen flashes his lights. Is that I'm coming, or you're starting to pull away from me? The gap just easing away. Still in the 32s. We only had one lap in the 31s, and that was Knight Racing on lap number 2 at 31.6. But apparently that pace was a little much, and he has dropped to 5th place now. He's turning also 32.3s, matching the leader's pace, but now just under 15 seconds behind this battle for first. There's Nodovan. You can see him just gaining a little bit in the background. It's pretty warm here in China, 33 degrees today, 57 degree trap temperature, so it's cooler, but not much than it was in Dubai last week. There were no pit stops in Dubai, so we're not really expecting any of here, but we will see what happens. I believe most of the cars are on hards. We hear Knight Racing is on softs. Perhaps that was an issue as well. If those rears got overheated, maybe that's what caused that spin in the final turn. He continues to reel in T-Man here. And he's around in the final corner. Exactly the same spin that Knight Racing did a few laps ago, and that's going to cost the Englishman 4th place. Knight back into the top 4, but it's a 9-second gap to Nodovan, who holds that final podium spot. As Bozak pulls away another 0.2 on that last lap. Busy days at the Knight Racing League here. Right after this race, Knight Racing and Nodovan both hopping on a charter straight to Japan. The racing to 6 hours at Suzuka tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll have live stream of that, the entire 6 hours right here on Mixer, so join us for that. Knight Racing, Nodovan, and of course Senna 211. A 3-car team for the Suzuka 6 hours tomorrow. Another flash of the lights as we go into lap number 9. It's 32.7 and Stillen gets back those 0.2. So the leader's now probably controlling the pace a little bit. You can see a 33 dead from Nodovan in behind as he tries to close down that gap to the leaders. Matched by Knight in 4th. T-Man's time won't count. That includes that little spin he had, so that lap time will come back down to 36s for Jag. we approach 1/3 distance here at Zhuhai. No Logan Shawn this week. He couldn't make the trip. Missing him on the grid. Also very competitive. He would have been in this fight as well, but we hope to see him next week when the Formula Renaults are at Sakido, Japan. Over the line, the pace continues to slip away just slightly, just managing things, so that tells me also that these guys are not planning pit stops. Laps are very consistent, but just slowing down slightly, keeping everything underneath. There's not a lot of pressure at the moment. And even if Stillen were to get close, it's, 73 points between Bozak and Stillen right now in the points championship. So, yeah, the race win's important, but it's not 8 points that would make or break the season. So there's not a big deal, not a big reason to push here. See that gap in behind? It's now 5 seconds as Nodovan is still reeling in Stillen. Both Corvettes have looked very good here this weekend. Of course, that Ford always looks good in the hands of Bozak. Still in keeping him honest this weekend, but the Corvettes are looking stronger than usual here. And good to see the blue number 6 back on the grid. Just watching the lines of this number 66 Ford GT, I'm trying desperately to remember the last time I saw this car sideways. He's been driving so well the last months, I have to say now. We could joke that we saw him put it sideways this morning in the practice start, but that certainly doesn't count. He's been a study in consistency lately. As the lap times come down there, a little bit of a push there, 32.5 after 4 consecutive laps of just kind of bleeding off the times. Bozak puts in a quick one. Still in just over 33. He continues to bleed it away a little bit. Nodovan continues to gain a 32.8 for him. And Knight has also slipped back a little bit now as the tires start to wear. We know he's on soft, so they're going to be wearing a lot quicker than guys who are out on hard compounds, like the leader here. Oh, and a bit of a curb, and Knight is into the barrier now. From bad to worse in 4th place. And that's going to require service. And definitely give... Well, he's going to drop to the back, isn't he? There's no way he's going to go in and get that fixed without T-Man and Jagbase both jumping past. Oh, and he can't get to Japan fast enough now. 25 minutes left in this race. As we hear T-Man go by, he will take 4th. And Jagbase onto the front stretch as well will take 5th. Fresh tires, collision repair, and well, now how many drop races does he have? Because this is major championship. Oh, it was a 7th place in Dubai as well, which didn't help. That's a drop. He's got a 5th in Barcelona. He's now running 6th in Zhuhai. We're going to have to start looking at mathematical possibilities here, as Knight is going to go a lap down. The leaders are through. He's coming out of the pits now, but Bozak has lapped him. Stillen will also lap him. So he is going to slot back in where he was when all the trouble started, right behind the rear wing of Stillen 421. There's Nodovan in behind. He is really reeling in this Ford. At least Stillen now has a bit of a blocker in behind, but he's got to start thinking about this. It's a 4-second gap now from second to 3rd place, 4th in between. They put a new nose, new bumper and nose on that Corvette. Fresh tires, so he's got that advantage as well. Already has the fast lap of the race. Well, you know, what good that'll do him, being a lap down, but what's the strategy here? It's a long way up to Jagbase, 30 seconds. And the last thing you want to do is get in the way of guys fighting for the lead, of top 3 all on the front straightaway together, so kind of a bad place to have that Corvette come out. We'll see what he does. The leaders continue to run just in around the 33-second mark. It's a 32.7, 4-second lead now for Bozak over Stillen. And the lapped car, Knight Racing in between. Nodovan just pushes a little wide in the background there. The thought process, Knight. I suppose he could just let off and let Nodovan go, but he's got the pace here. Just letting off a little early still and using all that curb. but it was a little wide. Knight got a great run there, so he's going to unlap himself from second. And as long as that didn't compromise the Ford, that at least takes him out of the battle from second to third. They can fight it out amongst themselves. It's a 32.6. Nodovan now flashing. It's a 32.6 for Knight and a 33.7 for Stillen. So that's really got to be the difference between new and old tires. And a nice gap now between first and second. So the best thing that Knight can do is just get on with it and get out of the way here. So he's not distracting this battle, which is very, very close for second place now. Both cars using the curb and then the grass at the end of it. That's a better line for the Ford. Let's see if he's responded there. Not really. Although it was the start of that lap. He would have been compromised down the main straight, of course. Oh, if he had to lift for that lap car going by him, that would be infuriating. Knight is out of the way now, so we'll see what the next lap time is and see if this is actually just struggling on tires or if it was that distraction. Nodovan certainly having no trouble at all. He's visually gaining in now as we have a real battle for second place. 20 minutes remaining in the race. He's got to run on the inside to the kink here. And he's going to take second right now. No, a good late braking and a crossover by Nodovan. Beautifully done. And he will take second place as we go on board with the American in the Ford. You could see the pace of those Corvettes. They're just legging it away in the straightaways. Wide again. That's what happened, we think, when Knight got by him to unlap. And a 32.5, the quickest of all the drivers on that lap for Nodovan. So he's got 6 seconds up to the leader. And he is the pole car, remember. So does he have enough time to try and get back up there and challenge for this win? It's 20 minutes to go, just under 20 minutes now. I'm sure if he gets up to the back end of the other Corvette, it will move out of the way quite smartly. You won't have to worry about that. Let's see. Well past halfway. Again, we don't see very many pit stops in this series. The guys have really figured out how to judge their tire wear. The only car to pit has been Knight Racing, and that was for damage. Took tires. Just because he was in there. As we'll do a field rundown as we start lap number 19. It is Bozak, your leader, in the 4GT. This will put a stranglehold on the championship if he can convert this one. Second place now in the Corvette is Nodovan. After a lap one, went wide in lap one. We believe there was some contact there. And but he's fought his way back to second place. We'll see if he can get up to the lead. Still in 4:21, runs third now. And almost runs the same lap time, so now he's got the carrot in front of him. So maybe he can do something about this second place again. The lone Ferrari in today's field is T-Man 1975 as he comes around to start lap number 19. He is now fourth. He's drove a consistent, clean race, which is his MO, and it's rewarded him with a fourth place here. Just a second and a bit off the pace of the lead cars, but maximizing his efforts here today. And Jagbase 44, same idea, is in fifth. And still has a 25-second lead over Captain Excitement Night Racing 727. A spin in this corner while chasing the leaders, and then decided to stuff it into a barrier just to finish off and make a pit stop. He's running last on the track, chasing down, ironically, the leader in front of him. But he's got to try and, well, I don't know what he's, 25 seconds to even get fifth position. It's a deja vu from last week, really. As he is kind of making it very, very difficult to have a shot at the championship here. It's got to be 3 spectacular runs when we get to America in 2 weeks. Final schedule is out. That was released last week, as the GTEs will be at the Circuit of the Americas on the 29th of February, Road America on the 8th of March, and finish up the season with a 60-minute day-to-night race on the road course at Daytona. That will be the season finale. We can't wait for that one. So join us here on Mixer. We'll have race replay streams just like this one of all the races. Speaking of streams, tomorrow the esports team in action, 6 hours at Suzuka on iRacing. Senna 211 Night Racing and Nodovan 3-car driver team for tomorrow. And we'll have live flag-to-flag streaming of that starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. As we approach the 32-minute mark in this race. Nodovan just under 6 seconds behind this car, Bozak. Night Racing continues to be the fastest car, the only car with fresh tires on the circuit. Here is your battle for second. Stillin's trying to hold on to the back end of this Corvette. Another blink at the lights, but it's 9/10 of a second slower for the Ford. Nodovan continues to pull away. Still incredibly tight at the front, though. 22nd lap. 7 seconds separates first through third, and we've got Knight in 5th place now. We've lost Jagbase 44, and it's a connection issue, we're told. So that's unfortunate, as he had a good solid 5th, and that is going to gift Knight Racing an extra position. $30 more up to T-Man in the Ferrari, who has dropped to 35s. We're going to watch that. Knight Racing here chasing down the leader of the race, but in 5th place, a lap down. Is now up to 5th. And hoping for some kind of a mistake. He's never going to get 3rd, because there it is right behind him. An entire lap up the road, so I very much doubt that's a possibility. 30 seconds up to T-Man in 10 minutes is not likely either. 31.6, fastest lap of the race for Knight Racing. So at least he's putting in the laps. Everyone has picked up the pace a little bit. Nodovan next fastest with a 32.1. As he continues to at least put the pressure on to try and get Bozak to make a mistake. He can't let off. He's going to have to push that car to keep his lead. The gap is 6 seconds. And Bozak has responded with a 32.1. 32.0 for Knight, still the fastest lap of all the cars that time around. T-Man do? T-Man at 35.6. He's just coming around now. These four all running together. T-Man literally on the other side of the circuit, running what has become a very lonely race for him. We're just going to check out this lap time as Knight... It's a 35.7, so 2.7 seconds. It's certainly not enough to close the gap, but we're hearing there's a fuel issue on that Ferrari, so we're going to watch those lap times closely. Maybe trying to limp that car to the finish. And as the leaders all come through again, it's a 31.4 for Knight Racing, another fastest lap of the race. He'll be petitioning to rewrite the rules to get points for that, but there is no reward, just bragging rights for fast laps. As Bozak has responded well enough to keep Nodovan behind. That Corvette has dropped to 32.6s now. And confirmation from the pits, the Ferrari pits, that this car is running as lean as it can run. They are worried about fuel in this Ferrari, so he's got a huge lead. It's now 21 seconds to Knight Racing. But they're going to try and limp it in. We've got 7 minutes to go. 36.3 that time around, so another 5 seconds. 4.9 to be, you know. Here comes Knight now, just over the line. He's getting visually closer to Bozak, so he's been given the speed up. We know there's issues here as T-Man approaches the first hairpin. Knight just coming through the kink here. That gap down to 18 seconds now for 4th place. The biggest problem he has now is that the leader is in front of him. He's a lap down. So if we run out of time, he's not going to be able to get around to pass T-Man. So the hurry up really on for this Corvette. He needs to unlap himself. That'll give him an extra circuit to try and get that 4th place. So interesting stuff happening off the podium. You see a Corvette really on it now. It was a 31.7 that time around. He's the only car turning in the 31s in the last little while. Bozak has sped up to maintain his first, and really just sped up enough to maintain his first. He doesn't want to push that car. T-Man a 36.2 that last time around. 4.5 seconds slower than Knight Racing, who puts in a 31.8 this time. Bozak continues to pull away. He's almost got his gap back up to 7, so Donovan may now just be locking in those 2nd place points. With 5 minutes to go now, no point throwing this car off and allowing Stillen to gain more in the championship on him. 25 points separate them coming into today, so Donovan will extend that by making that pass for 2nd place. Here is the car where all the drama is. The 4th place Ferrari of T-Man 1975. As we have 4 minutes to go, and they're trying to limp this car home. He's driven perfectly again, and he sped it up to a 35.1, so save all you want. But the guy who's chasing you is basically on the same front straightaway now as a 31.6 for the Corvette, using all of turn number 1 now. The gap just over 12 seconds. Watching the time closely, 3 minutes to go, so they will have 2 more laps. The leader will have 2 more laps. If Knight could possibly get this Corvette in front of him, he'll have 3 more laps. There is the Ferrari. You just saw it go off your screen at the top. It's not often that a lapped car is the story of a race right at the end. At least he's got it stuck in a place where we can keep track of the leaders as well. We got everybody on the same straightaway still. Oh, is that rear end wiggles around. Bozak, your leader in that Ford number 66 right there. There is Donovan in behind. The 2nd place Corvette, with now a 3.5 second gap over the 2nd Ford of Stillen 421. Fourth place is T-Man. Lean, lift, and coast, trying to limp this Ferrari home in 4th place. It's a 36.1. He's back into the 36s. And there is Knight in behind. Bozak will get one to go this time by. So if Knight wants 2 laps to get T-Man, he's got to get by, and T-Man goes wide, Bozak goes wide, and Knight does the undercut there, and it looks like he will unlap himself. What a huge pass for the Canadian. That will give him an extra lap to try and catch the Ferrari. As just up the road, very slowly through that corner. You're going to see the Corvette come around. There is the gap now from 4th to 5th. And you can't do it. He's into the pits, even with 1 more lap to go. They're going to have to come in and take some fuel. That is going to give Knight Racing 4th place. As Bozak will start his final lap directly behind, as it turned out. He's not slowing down. He's got himself another lap in case anything goes wrong in behind. Nodovan is second. That gap has come down. Of course, Bozak having Knight unlap himself, that added some time to his lap time, but he has a nice big gap. This is his final lap anyway. And with another perfect run and collecting his 5th win of the GTE Championship here in Season 2, Bozak takes the win in Zhuhai, China. Nodovan fights back from a Turn 1 touch to finish in 2nd. Still in 421. After a grid penalty that started him in 5th, he will recover back to 3rd place. And Captain Excitement, a spin, a crash, a pit stop, and then fast laps of the race as well. Whee! Knight Racing 727 will collect 4th place here. Unless he does something silly like he just did there. T-Man 1975 has already crossed the line behind Bozak, so he will finish a lap down. Knight Racing will be the last car on the lead lap in 4th. So a fantastic win for Bozak here as he puts a stranglehold on the championship with 3 races to go. As we get a nice photo op with the top 3. Join us tomorrow from Suzuka for the 6-hour race, and we'll see you next week for the Formula Renaults at Sakito, Japan. So a great day in the points for Bozak. He wraps up his 5th win of the season and now has a 39-point lead over Knight Racing 727, who loses ground to Nodovan and Stillen. 153 for second place Knight, 138 Nodovan, and 110 for Stillen 421. Jagbase and T-Man are very close for 6th place. We head to the United States to wrap up the championship with the final 3 rounds. Race 12 is at Circuit of the Americas. Join us then.